Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Baschamania podcast. After a little layoff, we'll get into the podcast. We'll talk about why. But this podcast is brought to you by our great friends at Attack, ATAC Attack, where video game stats meets real life training. Do you know your attack rating? Put in the work to get closer to your goals. Attack is like a fitness app. It is a fitness app. It's like having a personal trainer in your pocket. And you get these video game stats for strength, endurance, speed, mentality, agility, flexibility, all sorts of cool metrics that you can look at. And it's kind of like a video game. You can do workouts and try to increase your ratings, not only for the game, but for real life. These are scores that are based on real life metrics. So download the Attack app. It's built by wrestlers for wrestlers. ATAC Attack. Download the Attack app and get your attack rating today. We are back, bashing the brain after a long, cold December where we did not get nearly enough shows in.
Long December.
But we were talking about it beforehand, and we'll dive right in. First of all, I got to get this all set up. I'm at a new office I got, and I need to get it going. I need signs, paint.
I was sick. I didn't do a show for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You didn't do shows. Why didn't you do shows?
2 reasons. One, my agency, Basch Solutions, has been busy beyond belief. Thank God. So busy. And that's always first priority. Secondly, though, and this is a big one, because I always try to make time for wrestling. It's a huge passion project. This year, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because you're the brain, November and December has felt like preseason. As soon as I get ready, and you know, as my relationships continue to build, I'm gun shy now to say, cannot wait for this matchup, cannot wait for that matchup. So now I start texting guys, and it's like, okay, on Thursday, I want to post this matchup's happening. Text so-and-so, hey, are you competing? No, going to rest. No, coach is resting me. Yeah, I'm competing, but I don't think so-and-so's going. So it's like, okay, and I'm never going to force content. So it's like, if the show isn't there, or if a match isn't happening, like, I'm not just going to substitute with filler, you know? So it's like, I don't know. This November, December has felt like preseason to me.
Well, they certainly stopped wrestling. There's certainly, in the last 5 years, the holiday tournaments have tapered off, watered down.
They're dead. I mean,
and the duels, there's more people sitting than ever.
The holiday tournaments are like, I feel like we went through a couple phases where it went from an amazing tournament that you had to watch to, okay, you can't miss the finals, to, okay, let's see what finals are really worth watching.
You know, did you see some of the brackets that were posted from Midlands 15 years ago? Like 15 years ago, the 8 placers. There were multiple national champs. There were 3, 4, 5 national champs in one bracket. All-Americans galore now. I mean, nothing like that. I mean, you're lucky if you have a couple All-Americans at a weight.
Yeah. And I mean, you had a couple of great tournaments, which I think, you know, when there was action, like CKLV was great. That did not disappoint, you know. And there's a good match here, a good duel there. But the negative for me, from my standpoint of where I focus on marketing and storylines, the storylines overwhelmingly have been negative the first half of the season. You know, and it's like there've been, every time I feel like there's some good momentum, all of a sudden you have, you know, and it's tough too, because I know you're in the same position, and, you know, it's very easy to poo-poo on people you don't have relationships with. It's tough when there's people that you, even like Cornell, when they sat their guys at the last match of the collegiate duels, I wasn't trying to poo-poo on Mike Gray, and I think maybe his wife or somebody had said something like, listen, you know I'm an advocate for Cornell wrestling. I love the program. Yanni's my guy. Like, there's so many things that it makes it very hard to talk about it, especially in wrestling.
But that's where I keep it real. right?
Yeah.
Because if there's a program that I don't have a relationship with and I criticize them when they sit guys out or something, I need to criticize when my guys programs I'm really tight with. I consider myself pretty damn tight with Mike Gregg, right? But I gotta call it like I see it. If not, then what good? I mean, I'm a phony then.
I know,
right? And so I know those guys were a little butthurt about it. I tweeted some stuff. I know Yanni probably didn't like it, but I have to call it as I see it, and I think Yanni understands that because Yanni was cool about it.
Yeah, Yanni does. Yanni's very much like, we have a lot of conversations offline, obviously, and Yanni's somebody who can disagree with you and not take it personal. You know,
like I said on a show I did yesterday, I don't for one second believe that Vito Arujau is scared of any soul on this planet. I am not saying he sat out because he don't want to take a loss or something. But he did sit out, right? He wrestled at 1:00 and didn't wrestle at 3. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but that's kind of a long-winded answer to why I haven't done a show in a month. Is largely it's due to, like, every time I get excited about something, it seemed like half of it didn't come to fruition. And
yeah, it's a real bad sign when, like, Earl at Internet, he's like, hey man, I wrote this article, top 27 tasty matchups or 27 juicy matchups this weekend. He's like, I'm a little scared to post it because 7 of them won't happen.
I know. I told Earl too. I think it's like, it was either him or somebody. I'm like, you have to do it and just add the asterisk. Like, hey, if these guys wrestle, this is what should happen. It's so becoming.
Let me ask you this. I have this proposal, or for lack of a better term, proposal, wherein the teams would designate a starter at the beginning of the year, right? And they could change it every so often, right? If this guy wins the spot. But you have a designated starter. You have your roster. You have 4 125s, and you designate a starter. Cornell, Brett Unger, okay? And if Brett Unger does not go out against Cooper Flynn in his formula for seeding gets a win over Brett Unger, and Brett Unger gets penalized in his formula seeding because he was a designated starter at the time of the duel and he didn't wrestle, right? Tell me what's wrong with that. That solves, like, so much.
I don't think I agree with you, and I think that's a great idea. These coaches will never go for it because these coaches want the gamesmanship.
So, okay, I get it.
I think it's a great idea.
Some coaches would go for it.
No,
some
definitely.
Wouldn't. But here's the problem. In that, and I've been mentioning it a couple times, but I've been mentioning it more than ever now. Wrestling has a problem in that it's insular. And what I mean by that is you have the coaches making the rules to serve their benefit and not for the growth of the sport, not for the best presentation of the sport. They basically say, we're going to make the rules that best suits us and gives us some latitude. Not what's best for actual college wrestling.
Well, I don't think many of them care about what's best for college wrestling.
No, you know what they care about? They care about NCAAs.
And I think that's largely because of contracts and the way contracts are structured, incentives, everything else, that, having national champs and having All-Americans and having...
Yeah, I'm telling you, though, if you had that designated starter rule, there'll be less ducking. That's for sure.
Well, I'm curious, so the point of the show is to
here's an example too. If you had my system, there'd be less ducking, and I can prove it. Look at backside medical forfeits. There ain't as many.
Well, the one
there ain't as many.
The concept that I like is, and I can't remember if you talked about this on your show yesterday. I know we talked about it offline. What sucks is not only does a match not happen that we really want, but then you get, let's say David Carr goes out and texts somebody and he doesn't get that added incentive of the quality win.
That's right.
So
that's precisely right. And a couple of weeks ago, I tweeted, Dayton Pitzer was scheduled to wrestle Nick Feldman. Nick Feldman didn't go. Next duel, Dayton Pitzer is set to wrestle Luis Fernandez. Fernandez didn't go. In a vacuum, right? I'm not blaming Nick Feldman for ducking Dayton Pitzer. I'm not blaming Luis Fernandez for ducking Dayton Pitzer. What I'm saying is you can't have a formula wherein you get rewarded for quality wins and then the quality opponents don't wrestle you.
I know. And
he got screwed. He got screwed out of 2 opportunities.
Well, and it's like, part of it's just the game, but it was like...
Name another sport, though. Name another sport. It gets really simple when you think about it like this. Name another sport where you can just not show up. Yeah. There's not a college. Michigan plays Illinois, right? They're 10-0. They have Illinois the second to last game of the season, and they have Ohio State. They're not going to play Illinois because they're going to rest up for Ohio State. I mean, it don't work that way. You can't have there's never forfeits in basketball games. There's never, we're putting a whole backup thing. The Brooklyn Nets just got fined for not playing their starters.
The other kind of qualm with it, and again, if somebody's injured, they're injured. I'm just talking about the problem holistically. Julian Ramirez beats David Carr at the Cliff Keen. David Carr wants that one back. Not only to personally win it, but end of the year, you're talking a very big difference of where guys are seated. And when you look at a weight like 65, David Carr being a 2 or a 3 or a 4 is a very big deal when you have returning national champ Keegan O'Toole as likely the 1. So when David Carr now comes out to wrestle Ramirez at the Cliff Keen and it's Benny Rogers, that's, that stinks. And again, if Julian's injured, if whatever, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying the system is skewed right now. And it's just it's a problem.
It's a problem. The system, the formula is written in a way that allows for ducking, and the coaches are guilty of ducking. There's no incentive.
Yeah. All right, well, so the point of this show is to kind of recap the first half of the season, which we're kind of doing. We're talking more of the negatives, but we'll talk about some of the positives, and then kind of look ahead. I want to get your thoughts. Here we kind of have, this gets fun now. You start getting all the conference duels next month leading into the conference championships, then we get NCAAs, and we're going to roll right into the Olympic trials. So I feel like the doom and gloom of November, December is behind us. So first things first, looking at the first half of the season, when you talk Hodge, this year has been so unpredictable. When you look at weights like 125, guys like Ramirez getting win over Carr.
Next topic.
So here's my question, though. I don't disagree with you, but when I've had this conversation offline, and people know, first of all, Carter's my guy. We're working on a website for him right now. I'm biased towards Carter. I like Carter. But Keegan O'Toole, 10-0, 90% bonus, bumped up and took out Edmund Ruth, the number 3, I believe, at 174. The argument's there for Keegan as well. I lean Carter, but 9 out of 10.
Carter just destroyed
Whitlake.
Matt Olgin.
Yeah.
Olgin.
No, Strachey beat Whitlake.
Mesenbrink beat Olgin.
Yeah.
Strachey beat Whitlake. But now part of it is what they've done. Part of it is kind of projection. Like, I think Keegan's going to have close matches with a couple guys, right? Who's going to give Carter Strachey a close match?
Well, and that's why it's hard to do it, because it's like, Penn State has definitely it's almost like Cal, being another wrestling brain, has kind of seen the way things are going, and he's like, screw this. Why am I going to wrestle my guys November, December too much? Carter's got 5 matches. 6 if you count the exhibition, but 5 matches this year. And that's largely Penn State had, Lehigh and Hofstra in December, and then, boom, see you in January. So Carter's only got 5 matches, but I agree. At the end of the year, if Carter keeps his path, I mean, this is just bananas what he's doing. And speaking of Carter and Penn State in that duel, it was refreshing, and I'm curious your take. Oregon State sets attendance record, 8,540 people. NC State sells out the Reynolds Coliseum for the first time.
Awesome stuff.
I love seeing that. That is like for as many people, and even us, we're poo-pooing certain aspects. I was talking to Mike Mock, one of the most nicest human beings in the sport, maybe nicest humans alive. He was saying, and even, it started because he commented on my post, and he's like, his freshman year, they had like 100 people in the stands.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because this is what happens when you truly buy in and try to do this. Like NC State.
Well, here's another thing, too. I mean, I don't think that anybody sat. Right? Did anybody sit?
I don't believe so.
In the Oregon-Penn State match, everybody was there. In the NC State, Okie State match, the only one that wasn't there was Serber. I mean, those guys wrestled everybody in front of packed houses, which is the way that it should be.
Yep. Yeah, no, that was Mitch Messenbrink, by the way. My gosh, does he look good. Penn State fan Golden Nugget, Facundo's going to Henry Delane next week. Excited to see how he's doing freestyle.
Good. You know what? He's so good in freestyle.
Very good. Very good.
I mean, for a lot of people say his folk style has been a bit of a disappointment, commensurate with what his recruiting status was. Blue chipper. But I mean, I think that's a fair point that people, maybe he should have, could have, was expected to do a little better, a little sooner. But in freestyle, I mean, he had a really good open.
I do think the Facundo criticism, in part, is due to high expectations at Penn State.
Yeah.
I think aside from, last year, he had his first loss was to David Carr, and then he lost a close one to Patrick Kennedy. Season-wise, I think for a freshman, that's a pretty damn good season. Now, the postseason, he kind of fell off and had a disastrous postseason. That could be for a number of reasons, but I don't think his season was that bad. Especially like before the postseason, you'd take a decision loss 4-2 to David Carr and an overtime loss to Patrick Kennedy.
Yeah, he wrestled really good there. But he also kind of got screwed up because now he lost to Holden Heller, which wasn't a good loss, but then his second match, Julian Ramirez lost first round too, right? So,
and again, like even the Big Tens, he lost to Bubba Wilson and Carson Karchula, 1 point match, a 2 point match. Like, but either way, like I still think part of this is because the expectations for Penn State are so high right now. Tell me what program doesn't want Facundo, you know what I mean, with that kind of season. Yeah. Yes, he's got to do better in the postseason, but I think he's fine. I think people are worried about nothing with him. So yeah, I did love to see the attendance high at some of these duels. I think we're trending in the right direction. At the same time,
yeah, he was 19-2 going to Big Tens.
Right.
That's pretty good.
He had a great season. This is postseason, and you never know. Guys could be battling sickness, anything else. He had literally a bad 2 weeks. Big Tens and NCAAs.
He beat Olguin. He beat Amin.
Yeah. So, yeah, dual meets, I do love seeing the attendance, and that was incredible. I do think, where do you think in the second half of the season, dual meets, it's going to be very interesting. You have, I don't want too much overlap because I know a lot of people listen to First Word too, but you have Michigan sitting 4 guys, and they lose to South Dakota State. Do you think that is a non-conference thing that they're not going to let happen in the second half? Or do you think...
I think that there's a difficulty. I think that there's a difficulty coming back from break. And that's my gut feeling. My gut feeling is that there's a difficulty coming back from break, and that you got to get guys down and they're not 100% and going to give them rest, especially Michigan's kind of old. And I don't know, I'm going to do some legwork today, but I'm not sure on the status of Chris Cannon. He was dinged up earlier in the year. Somebody told me that he might be done, and so I'm going to dig and look at that. So if that is the case, that's a kid that didn't sit. He actually was hurt.
And there's always more to the story. And I've always tried to be more and more careful with why guys aren't wrestling, because, I know from kind of being closer with some of the Penn State kids, I'll know somebody has the flu or this or that. And as soon as they don't wrestle, it's, he's ducking so-and-so. So, I understand that there's usually more to it. But do you think there's going to be more of an effort now that we're going to start rolling into conference duels?
Absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely. I think we'll see less sitting, less ducking when we get to conference duels.
I think so too. I don't know about you, but I kind of real quick, I kind of want to go weight by weight and just get your thoughts on each weight kind of heading into the second half. One of the we were talking about beforehand, it's funny because this trend I do not like. I'll put a graphic, a tweet, something that says somebody upset somebody. And all the commenters, well, that's not an upset. If you know, you know. Oh, that's not an upset. He could beat anybody. Yeah. Listen, if a 10 seed beats a 2 seed, if a this, if a that,
it's an upset.
It's an upset. And by the way, it doesn't mean that's how the season's going to end.
Right.
Everybody did it. I love Jacob Camacho. That kid is awesome. I like him a lot. When he beat Matt Ramos, it was an upset. I had said it was an upset. People started commenting, that's not an upset. Yes, it is. And now Camacho lost 4 straight. So it's like you can't just because somebody beats somebody say the whole upset trend. It's not an upset. It's driving me nuts lately.
Yeah.
But all right, let's go through weight by weight.
125 is nuts.
125 is just absolutely bananas.
Now, here's the thing. If we're doing recap preview for first half, second half of the year, the story at 125 was it's been a big ball of parity. The preview could be, are we going to see Dayton and Vito down?
Would you think you are?
Dayton's trying. Dayton's going to see. Yeah, I mean Dayton's going to try.
I mean, these guys got to make it eventually for the Olympic trials, anyways. And if you slowly,
Dayton will make 57 kilograms. The issue will become, can he hold it that long? And so he's on his way down, and if he feels good, I imagine I would guess he would stay down he would go down to 25. If it starts getting to be a struggle, maybe he'll come back up, stay at 133, and then make 57 kilos when it's time.
Yeah, and for casual college fans listening, Dayton and Vito are competing at 57 kilos at the Olympic trials, which is 125 pounds. So they're essentially that. I know some people were kind of confused by why would they drop. The answer is simply because Olympic year, there's no 61 kilos. Yeah. So that's kind of the backstory as far as that. So, yeah, obviously if Dayton and Vito drop to 25, that makes it even more interesting. I think no matter what, 25 has been a W this year. I think seeing what these guys do and seeing how much parity there is and just kind of seeing – you throw all these guys into a tournament in March, and it is going to be very fun.
I mean, I couldn't pick it. I couldn't
When was the last time you did a crystal ball update?
I'm doing it this week.
What do you have? Do you have any inclination as to what you're going to do at 25?
Well, I'm definitely going to have Dayton down there. I don't know if I'll have Vito. I think I'll keep Vito up because there's too much uncertainty. Dayton weighed in way underweight at the NC State duel. So there's a piece of data. We have data. Like you don't weigh in way underweight. If you weigh in way underweight, there's evidence there that you're on your way down. So I'm going to go Dayton at 25. I think I'll keep Vito at 33. I mean, the thing is that we've seen Vito at 25 and he's just not the same guy.
Yeah.
I mean, if you compare Vito at 25, very good. Very good. Vito at 33 last year, monster.
Lights out.
Like breaker of worlds.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll tell you, it's interesting too, like from a seeding standpoint, I think Anthony Noto could potentially go uncontested the rest of the year. When you start talking about, is there anybody that can challenge him in the MAC conference?
No. So Anthony Noto is ranked number 1 at 125.
And he could finish that way, right?
The only other guy that's ranked in the MAC is Blake West, who's 31.
Yeah, so like from a seeding standpoint, that becomes real interesting because Noto could potentially finish the year undefeated. Now, his biggest win might only be Jacob Camacho, but
now
Noto only lost last year to Spencer Lee and Brandon Courtney at the NCAAs. Like he's freaking good.
Yeah. So he has two. He has Blake West once. That's the kid that's ranked from Northern Illinois, 31. And he has Tyler Klinsky from Ryder, who just beat Dean Peterson. But the rest of the way, he should pretty much walk.
Yeah.
So you're right. Noto has a nice path to getting the number 1 seed.
Yeah. So where I was going with that, if Noto goes undefeated the rest of the year, and let's say he gets the 1 seed, do we end up seeing the fix Vito 2-3 if they went down?
That's possible. It's possible.
Would that not be crazy if they both come down and then wrestle? If they both went out and make it to the semis, and then we see that as a semi?
It was funny because I had this light bulb moment. I was in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I was talking to Coach Manning, and I was like, hey, there's some rumors floating around that Dayton's going to go 25. And he's like, really, really, really? And I had this light bulb moment. I went, oh, my God. Maybe that's why Vito hasn't weighed in. Because if he weighs in, it messes with his descent plan. And I'm like, oh, my God, maybe both of them are dropping. So, it was pretty when you think about it, it's like one's dropping. Wow. Oh, my God, maybe 2 are dropping.
It would be interesting. I should just text Yanni and ask him right now. Just make him go live and be like, listen, nobody's listening. But
yeah.
So yeah, we could see Noto the 1 seed, fix Vito the 2. I don't know. You don't think? Well, no, I don't know.
You don't think what?
Well, Vito took a loss, but Fix hasn't. Could Fix go undefeated, drop, and get the 1 seed at 125?
Well, I don't know.
A lot of hypotheticals in play here.
Anthony Noto already has 8 matches in at 125. Dayton Fix has 0 right now, right?
Yeah.
So, and plus, Noto has big wins, whereas Dayton in the Big 12. Well, I guess there's some good guys in the Big 12. You get Jory Volk, Noah Certain, Richie Figueroa, Steve O'Poulin. No, I'm sorry, not Richie Figueroa. Jory Volk, Noah Certain, Steve-O Poulin are all top 12 guys.
Yeah.
So he might have less matches, but he might have more quality wins.
Just based on schedule alone, I think he's going to end up with more quality wins if things play out. So it'll be interesting. But there is a world where Noto gets a 1 seed and Fixed Vito could be 2-3.
Insane.
Which would be bananas.
Insane.
So, yeah, 25. And it's hard to kind of predict that weight, but I do think it's going to be fun to watch play out.
How about if you're Ryan Crookham and you're coming into your first year, you're a freshman, you beat Vito, you ascend to number 1 in the rankings, and then Vito and Dayton leave the weight class.
And then we could end up seeing Crookham Nagao for a title.
I mean, if you're a freshman, you're like, oh man, I'm joining a weight class with Vito and Dayton. And then you're not.
Right. Yeah. And by the way, and you get the win. It's not like they're out before he wrestles them. You know what I mean?
Right. So, but if you're Crookham, he's 1. 2 and 3 are Vito and Fix, who might be leaving the weight. And number 6, Chris Cannon, is 0-1 on the year and might be done.
Okay.
Just a wacky. So right now, potentially at 133, 1, 4, 5, 7 might become 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
And 4.
Which, by the way, this plays that Vito long term, because I want to win my bet with you. Long term, Vito and Fix
dropping
helps my odds. Because
that is big. Yes.
Because that goes from a Crookham Nagao semifinal to potentially a final.
Right. Nagao would have somebody like O'Reen or Cannon or Frost in a semi.
Yeah,
right?
which obviously
manageable.
Correct. It's a lot more manageable. I was just going to say, and Vito and Fix going down to 25, we were not counting at any points at 25 or having a finalist there anyways. So that kind of plays into things breaking my way a little bit.
Yes, sir. So
but 33, and 33 could go from one of the, a great weight to a weight where you have Crookham and Nagao as like the clear contenders, or Reen and Frost kind of right there, but then you drops off. I mean, then you start
off. Like if you remove Dayton and Vito from this, that's a terrible weight class,
right?
And potentially Cannon, it's a terrible weight class because then you're looking at Crookham Nagao O'Reen, okay, pretty solid, but then you have Evan Frost, Brody Teskey, Dylan Shawver, Zeth Romney, Kolioko. Was it Latona and Buzakis are way down at 12-13. But it's a terrible weight after that.
But they're down at 12-13 because Latona and Buzakis have 9 combined losses already.
That's right.
So, I mean, it's hard. It's harder to get excited for those names when they're dropping so many matches from a standpoint of big matches happening. So 33, we could really see fall off if Vito and Fix do drop, which could be a ricochet shot of the Olympic year. Not could, is. If Vito and Fix go down, that is a 100% ricochet shot of the Olympics having 6 weights and not 10.
Yes, for sure. And, I was thinking like, if they both go down, is it next topic Vito Dayton final with the way that 125 has been so ho-hum? But, the complications of making weight 3 days in a row. Well, I guess really, it's only 2 days in a row because the third day you just got to make it, and then you get 8 hours to recover for the finals.
But could it be Vito Fix semifinal next topic?
Yeah, that too.
Does their plans change if all of a sudden Noto takes a loss? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. No, I mean, I think they do it. If they're doing it for the trials. They're doing it it's because it's best for their body.
Well, we I feel like we're talking about this forever, but Counterpoint to Vito dropping. Counterpoint. Because you said you had a piece of data.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a counter piece of data.
Okay.
If Vito was dropping, why would he not challenge Zane Richards for the Pan Am Olympic Games qualifier spot?
Good question. It's a good question.
I believe, and the only answer I can
when
have...
Is that like...
It's the weekend before. It's very close to conference championships. But how much does Vito care about winning EIWAs again?
Well, it wouldn't be. What's the date on it?
I'm looking right now.
And by the same token, Dayton.
Let's see.
So you tell me what the date is, and I'll tell you what he has in college season on that date, on that weekend.
Well, EIWAs are March 8th and 9th. And then the Pan Am Olympic Games qualifier is the weekend before, February 28th and March 1st.
That's why. That is your answer. They're not challenging because that would require, if you're going to challenge, you're going to go to the Pan Am qualifier.
Correct.
They're not going to do that. That's too much during the college season.
And because I know the wrestle-off is February 3rd. Now, I don't know if they set that wrestle-off date. They did set that wrestle-off date after they know who was contesting. Because Gary had told me that they did.
Okay, so February 3rd.
But they set that date after. They waited to see who was going to contest, how many matches, all of that, and then said, okay, the only men's freestyle challenger is going to be Yanni challenging Nick Lee challenging, or Yanni challenging Nick Lee. That's the only one. And then they set the date. I don't know if the date would have been different had Vito said, I'm going to challenge Zane Richards. Fair enough.
But it is another date. And the last thing these guys need is another date, right? So that'd be two times wrestling freestyle in the middle of a folk style season.
Yeah. Yeah, so it'll be interesting. All right, so 33 and 25, that kind of covers everything there. 41 has been interesting so far because we've had some great matches already, and I feel like it's only going to get better because now, the top, three at 41 are all Big Ten with Woods, Bartlett, Mendez, and now we're going to...
I really like the way Mendez is wrestling.
Same. I've been high on Jesse Mendez since, I guess.
But Woods is so crisp, man. I know Woods had a close one with somebody. Did Woods have a close one with somebody?
Real Woods doesn't win a lot of matches with style points. He went into overtime with Echemendia.
That's right. That's who it was.
And that was, his other top 10 match. I don't know if Echemendia was top 10 then, but his other top 10 match was Lachlan McNeil. He won 8-4. But Real has, granted not against top guys, but he has got
great against Lachlan. I thought
he did.
8-4 was not indicative.
But Real Woods is I've had this talk with Chenzo for a couple years now. Because, he's always told me Real is a guy who's not going to win a lot of style points. He's going to go out there and he's going to do what he has to win the match. And he's going to do that very consistently. So if you're just looking at dominance based on style points, you're likely going to be deceived by what Real does.
No, I think that's spot on. I am not enamored with Real Woods in that he puts up a lot of points. I'm enamored with Real Woods. When he pulls the trigger, he's about as crisp and clean as it comes.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
That being said, I think Bartlett gives him a tough match, and I think if there's... it's tough to call him a dark horse right now because he's ranked 3 in the country now, but Jesse... Right, they're the only thing. Bo and Jesse are the only two I think could derail the Real Woods train.
And it kind of stinks because we don't get Iowa, Ohio State this year. So if we do see a Woods Mendez, which honestly, we might not see it unless Mendez can beat Bartlett, because I got to think if Bartlett and Mendez hold as the 2-3, that could be a Big Ten semi in the bottom with Real on the top.
That's right, because
like Real Brock Hardy or something.
Mendez has a loss to, who did he lose to? Mendez lost recently.
Cole Matthews.
Yeah. And so, as of now, the Big Ten seeding would go Real, Bo, Mendez.
Right, and then Brock Hardy, the 4.
Yeah, now, Penn State wins, although they have a head-to-head, right?
Real and Bo do.
Right, so that'll be settled, right? That'll be settled.
No, that's just, if I'm saying we likely won't see Real Mendez unless Mendez makes the finals. We're going to see Real and Bo at the duel.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say
February 2nd, Ohio State, Penn State.
So that's where we'll get, so Bo's going to get Jesse Mendez February 2nd and then get Real Woods the following weekend.
You know who's wrestling well? And
then Brock Hardy 2 weeks after that. Bo Bartlett's February, man.
You know who's wrestling well? And like, I like him and I like his family, but his wrestling has always left a little bit to be desired, in my opinion, because he wrestled so low-scoring matches. But Mitch Moore's 10-0 right now, and he looks good doing it.
Yep.
I'm just throwing out there.
That's what I was just going to say. Look at Bo Bartlett's February. He starts off February 2nd against Jesse Mendez in Ohio State, who's ranked number 3. The following week, he has number 1 Real Woods when they take Iowa. The following week, he has Mitch Moore at Rutgers, who's 10-0. The following week, he has Brock Hardy at Nebraska.
Yeah.
What a gauntlet.
That's a run. 41's kind of fun.
41's very fun. Etchemendy is a wild card.
Real wild card. I mean, I guess that's what I'm getting at is, now I don't think by any stretch of the imagination Mitch Moore is going to make a run to the finals. He could knock guys off in duels and mess up seeding. He could cause an upset in a quarterfinal or a round of 16. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yeah, so this weight's going to be fun as we play out. That Bo Bartlett gauntlet in February is, and he didn't look that great this past weekend.
Yeah, I don't know. I said something about that on the first word yesterday. I get, anytime a Penn State guy has a close match, to me, it's like that Spencer Lee thing. It's like,
I don't think it's stock.
Is something wrong with him? It's like,
no, I don't think so at all.
Cleveland Belton's solid. Levi, whoever Levi wrestled, they're not going to bonus every time.
Listen, I like it. Really when I say like he didn't look that good this weekend, that I love Bo. That's just me being hypercritical because I want him to go out there and tech everybody. I like when a guy like Bo is challenged and he has to go out there get a takedown in overtime to win. I like that. You need those matches. You need those wins. So he started the year that way too. I think his first match was that Vince Cornella match where he went into overtime, took him down overtime.
Well, you say about
the finals, I think, journeyman.
Real not putting up a lot of points, not winning with style points. Bo's the same way.
Well, Bo has 4 pins this year, so.
Oh, come on.
4 out of his 9 matches are pins.
All right. That's great. Hold on. Bear with me.
No, I know where you're going. It doesn't matter.
Yes, it does matter. Those people were Dante Frenzy, Joe Fungaro, Rich Trainer, and Riley Halal.
Hey, I want to say this, too, about Bo. Bo is inspiration for kids This nonsense that you have to gain a large following on social and build your brand, you need to be the icing on the cake. Bo Bartlett has 167,000 Instagram followers because he works hard on building his brand. Shout out Bo Bartlett. Love that kid.
He's the best.
He told me some funny stories. We got coffee in Newark. He was on the show after that too. We got coffee before Final X in Newark, and that was a blast. Some very funny stories. But yeah, if you're not following Bo Bartlett, you're missing out. He's a great follow. Very informative, very entertaining. Follow Bo.
I know the thing I like about Bo is he doesn't take himself too seriously.
Yeah.
You know, he's not a guy that like puffs out his chest and I am special. He's humble, funny, self-deprecating, and he's super wicked smart.
Yeah, very smart. Very smart. All right, so 41 is going to be the last. 49. What is your mid-season thoughts on 149? Here we went from my bias with Bo to your bias with Ridge Lovett. Everybody's a fan of Ridge Lovett, but I know those Huskers have a special place in your heart.
For some reason, you know, Ridge Lovett seems to dominate. No, I shouldn't say dominate. He seems to wrestle better against better guys.
Yep.
You know, like he didn't bonus the kid from UNI. He didn't bonus the kid from, I don't know, North Dakota State or South Dakota State. But like, I mean, he didn't bonus Henson either. But I just feel like the pick's Ridge.
The Henson was the first time he's been tested in a while. You
Henson's so damn good, man.
We talked about, I think before the season, maybe before Cliff Keen, we had talked about that it's been a while and we're going to see where Ridge is. And I think Henson was the first time he was really tested back on the college mat with a great wrestler, and he got the W. That, for me, I don't think you need those quote-unquote style points like we talk about.
Yeah.
I think when you can go out there, get that win, you know, he's 12-0 on the year. I think Ridge is...
here's a thing about and this is why I never buy those small schools in football. Like when Cincinnati goes undefeated, back in the day when like Louisville would go undefeated,
when Washington goes undefeated and gets trounced by Michigan 34-13.
No, that's a little different because they beat Oregon twice.
No, I know.
It is one thing to like beat a 9, right? On a scale of 1 to 10, you beat a 9 or an 8. It's another thing to beat 2 9s and then you also beat 3 8s. Like there's too many road bumps in the Big Ten. Like Ridge is going to have to face D'Amelio, Austin Gomez. There's just a lot of threatening guys where I guess Henson has Arrington. But if Ridge has a hiccup anywhere along, and you could say this about any Big Ten number one, but the seating gets thrown all out of whack.
Yeah. Yeah, and that Austin Gomez, I mean, Gomez is going to go out there and let it fly every single time he steps on the mat. And Gomez is liable to upset anybody on planet Earth at any time. Liable to take a loss, too. But the way he just lets it fly when he's out there, you know, you talk seating disasters and seating issues. Like, I don't know if there's a bigger threat for that than Gomez.
Yeah. Ridge would be my pick. And the confidence level is not as high as some of the other weights.
Did it go up with Shane Van Ness going out? Which, by the way, talk about our bet. That hurts me.
That kills you.
I mean,
you're not dead, but it hurt.
That hurts bigly.
I mean, actually, maybe we'll adjust the spread if Dayton and Vito go down. I'll adjust the spread for you. If Dayton and Vito stay up, no, opposite. If Dayton and Vito stay up, I'll adjust the spread. If Dayton and Vito go down, we'll keep it the same because you got one there.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's big because you have something like that. You have Shane Van Ness go out. Even though Penn State could, in theory, at the beginning of the year on paper have 7 finalists, you have these things like this where for it to just – for the favorite scenario or likely scenario to play out is still unlikely for all of them.
Is like for me, 174 is kind of next topic. Aaron Brooks to me is next topic. Is 149 like there's only 2 cats you're putting in the finals, right? I mean, nobody else is picking anybody else. Are you picking Jackson Arrington for the finals? I said at the beginning of the season, I expect a big jump from Jackson Arrington. And he's here. He's up number 3. But I don't see him usurping Ridge or Caleb.
The wild card here is
cut and dry. Are you telling me that this is going to beat Henson Lovett? I just don't see it.
No, I agree with you. I agree. I'm looking at the weights. This weight kind of reminds me of 33 a little bit. Better than 33 because you have Dylan D'Amelio, Swiderski, Gomez. You definitely have more depth than 33 of Vito and Fix-Leave.
And you got more. Still. Right. When you have guys like Swiderski and Gomez, even a Jaden Abbas, you have more scary guys.
Yeah. But it definitely, you lose a Shane Van Ness. You feel that.
Yeah. 57. Levi 1, Franek 2, P-Rob 3. P-Rob just took a loss. Teamer 4, who just took a loss. Ed Scott 5, who just took a loss. 3, 4, 5, all lost this week.
And 3 and 5, Rob and Scott were both pretty decent upsets. Ryder Downey of North Iowa beat.
Yep. Ryder Downey beat Rob. Ed Scott got beat by Teague Travis. Teamer got beat by Cody Chittum. Now, Rob and Ed Scott, they're massive upsets so much, but it still doesn't map to me. It still doesn't map.
It's funny, too, by the way. Chittum on paper is still so according to Intermat rankings, you have Ryder Downey the 13 beating Peyton Robb the 3, whereas Chittum's the 20 beating Teamer the 4.
I know. If you so this is Tuesday morning. The rankings will change in about 2 hours.
Yep.
If you were ranking, what would you do with Rob, Teamer, and Scott?
I don't know. It's tough.
I mean, are you putting them
Teamer
below?
and Scott now both have 3 losses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's tough to keep them in 4 or 5, but
Ryder Downey has 4 losses. If I'm doing the rankings, I'm giving Rob a mulligan.
I think that's right. I think Rob only 1 loss gets a mulligan.
I might even give the other 2 mulligans, but you're right. With them having 3 losses, that's problematic.
And does in turn them now having 3 losses, where does Meyer Shapiro go? Because his losses were to Cardenas and Chumbley, but he's only got 2 losses. He just beat
Patty Gallagher.
And then I don't know how you want to handle the Andonian one. I mean, he's got 2 wins over Andonian. One is an injury default. One is a major decision.
Yeah, I think Meyer might go like top 10 now.
I think top 8. You got Andonian 8, who he's now beat twice. And I don't know that Andonian needs to fall off that much, but you're going to have this tier now where you have these guys with 3-4 losses: Teamer, Scott, Cardenas, Andonian, Luan.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So that's the state of 157. Who is your, Jan 9th mid-season pick?
I'm going with Levi, but this weight has me very excited because you have Shapiro, you have Chittum, you have these guys who, even Travis and Downey and these guys who are doing upsets. This weight so far has got to be the most exciting weight we've talked about, given how much talent you have throughout the weight. So I think Levi's still my pick to win, but as far as weight to watch the rest of the year, this is the one where you tune into a random dual meet and you could have a very exciting 57-pound matchup.
I have a really tough time not saying Peyton Robb Ja'Cory Teamer final. I don't care that they lost. I just don't care. I think they're the two best wrestlers at the weight. I think. Now, I haven't said that. Levi beat him twice.
If Levi goes undefeated,
Levi's a safe pick.
Well, and he's undefeated this year. His last loss was in the finals last year. I don't think apart from, it's hard to pick against him. Where, as far as NCAA finals, I feel like a lot of this too is going to come down to those semifinal matchups. Where do you guys end up ranked? And
we'll learn a lot because not only will they hit at Big Tens, but Peyton Robb and Franek wrestle this week, and then Levi and Franek duel, and Levi and Robb duel second to last week. So
those top three are gonna,
we'll get some clarity there.
But I do think, regardless of how those dual meets play out, Big Tens and NCAAs can be completely different. With the level of talent those guys have, I think we could see a completely... I don't think if there's a certain result in a duel, this is still one of those weights that I think we're not going to truly know and be confident in anymore throughout the year, in my opinion. If Levi beats Franek and Robb, I still think that either of those guys could get a win, or vice versa. There's just so much talent there that I think it's more of an iron sharps iron. None of those guys losing is really stock down to me.
Yeah, I know. And then, man, he got X factors. What do you put Meyer? Where do you project Meyer? It's tough.
I think Meyer All-Americans this year.
Right, but can he crash the whole party?
Can he win? No, I think he needs to do a little bit more developing. Could he crash the party next year? Yes. This year, I think he AAs, and depending on how he places and how he continues to develop.
Well, one thing interesting about Meyer is in high school, he would wrestle a tournament, not compete for 3 months. Wrestle a tournament, not compete for 2 months. Wrestle a tournament. He's going to have a learning curve this year with a boom, 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 boom. Keep your weight down, compete every week, bang your head against the wall, right? I mean, it's a grind. Yeah. So I agree with you. This year is going to be a learning curve for him with the structure and the nonstop machine gun. You always have a match. Next year, when he has this year under his belt, next year he could make jumps.
The talent is already there. If you look at how he beat the living piss out of Paddy Gallagher, 15-0, and Paddy Gallagher is good. He is a great wrestler, and he went out there.
Thing to Bryce.
But still, 15-0 is not a common score. No escapes. No, I'm going to let you up and get you a takedown. Nothing. Just 15-0 blanked him.
What was the score with
Andonian? 16-4 at Cliff Keen. That was still a very impressive win, no doubt. But the 15-0 for me
yeah.
I feel like the Meyer's win over Andonian to Cliff Keen was kind of overshadowed by him losing right after that.
It was. But I think that, and I'm not making excuses for Meyer, I think he got rattled. I think that was more
agreed
in his head. I think he was in his own head more than, he's a little bit limited. I don't think he's a little bit limited. I think he was overthinking things.
Yeah. Again, that's him needing to develop, and I think he's absolutely one of the best guys at the weight. I think, when you talk about guys like Peyton Robb and, obviously Levi Haines is right there. Teamer is very good. This weight is fun. I think, it's going to be fun, and I love that we get to see this play out over the next month or two as these duels.
Yep. 165, Keegan O'Toole, Isaac Olejnik, Julian Ramirez, David Carr, Cam Amin, Dean Hamidi, Mikey Caliendo, Holden Heller is number 8. That top 7's wicked.
It's bananas. It is a fun weight.
Oh, that's a good weight. Mesenbrink 12, only because he's a crew.
Yeah, Mesenbrink is not. That may be Chittum 20 and Mesenbrink 12. And again, I know rankings are coming out in an hour or two. Both will probably change. Those are the two most deceptive rankings.
I'll tell you. Well, just because he's a true freshman.
No,
I'll tell you this.
Yeah.
Mesenbrink will undoubtedly be at least 9. Because he beat Olguin head up, and Garrett Thompson lost to somebody. Mitch will be at least 9.
And he's going to have Michigan and Iowa. So he's going to get those matches in for Cam Amin ranked 5, Caliendo 7. He's going to get those matches in. I don't think Penn State, Wisconsin wrestle, but
it's an interesting way when you're looking at it through the lens of the Big Ten. They don't have any of the top 4.
Yeah.
At this current time.
Izek, did he?
Olejnik?
Yeah, he's still undefeated, right?
Yeah, he beat Hamidi at the All-Star Classic. He beat Julian after Julian beat David Carr.
That's we cannot get a 1 and a 4 seed, O'Toole and Carr at NCAAs. We can't. That would be criminal.
Well, I'll say this. That'll be decided because they're going to duel, and they're going to have Big 12s, and so.
So you think, in theory, Ramirez Carr could more likely be a 2-3?
Yeah, or yes, precisely.
I just don't want O'Toole Carr on the same side of the bracket in March.
Let's see who. I mean, Cornell wrestled a dynamite schedule, but when Julian had Cliff Keen in his rearview mirror, I don't believe he's wrestled anybody big since. He's 12-1. His only loss was Olejnik. He beat David Carr. He beat Heller, but he doesn't have a whole heck of a lot of other big wins. Oh, they duel Missouri.
Cornell does? Oh, yeah. January 28th.
Yep. So, really, that can't hurt him, though. I mean, win or lose there.
Yeah.
It doesn't drop him behind Carr or
right.
Anybody for the time being.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting weight. Can Mesenbrink go undefeated to NCAAs?
Absolutely. Who can't he beat in that list? Mesenbrink's schedule until Big 10s. He has Tyler Lillard, Cam Amin, Caleb Fish, Gavin Bell, Bryce Hepner, Caliendo, Anthony White, Antrell Taylor. He'll beat Lillard. Lillard's hurt, so he's not even going to wrestle him. He can beat Amin. He'll beat Fish. He'll beat Bell. He'll beat Hepner. I would pick him against Caliendo, and I would pick him against Antrell. So
is there a shot if he goes undefeated, we see O'Toole 1, Messenbrink the 2? I mean, listen, O'Toole and Carr are going to wrestle a few more times. So, that's – and Carr, I think, got 2 out of the 3 last year.
I mean, really, if you're Mitch and you're coming into the year as a true freshman, which it's always an uphill battle because in the rankings you're starting from scratch and you have no body of work. Really, I think he needs to get to the 3. I think not needs. That should be enough for him, right? To get to the 3, you're feeling pretty good about yourself. And O'Toole will probably be the 1. Big 12 will have the 1 and the 2, most likely. If Messenbrink can get to the 3, that'll be mission accomplished for the regular season.
Yeah. No, it's an interesting weight. Again, now I feel like the weights are getting more and more fun. This is another one. You
57, 65 are awesome, weren't they?
Yeah. And Messenbrink is really living up to the hype. I remember when he transferred over. When he transferred over, there was questions. Can Messenbrink, will he crack the lineup? Will this and that? And now if you look at the way it's just played out.
And really, it's like, does his freestyle success translate over to folk? Because, truly in high school, it wasn't until after high school. Right? I mean, he took 5th here. He took that 5th at Super 32, 6th at this Fargo or something. It wasn't until he beat Levi at the trials that he really took off. Right? So the question was, is this just a freestyle thing, or was it a developmental thing? And I think it was a developmental thing. I think he blossomed late.
Yeah. So yeah, this will be a fun weight. For picks, I don't know if we're picking or not, but I'm going to pick David Carr. I think he's going to rebound and end up winning the weight, going out on top. That's also me.
Man.
He's got what it's tough. I know.
I have a hard. The thing is, Julian always knocks some people off. Like Julian. I can't see. I wouldn't pick right now. I wouldn't pick Julian to make the finals because you have to string them all together. But Julian can beat the best guy. So it could throw a monkey wrench into everything.
You know what's as a crazy
sidebar? I think kind of right now the same thing about Messenbrink. I think Messenbrink, if Messenbrink beat Carr or Olesnik or O'Toole, my mind's not blown. My mind's not blown.
No, mine's not blown.
Won't pick it right now, but my mind's not blown. Same thing with Julian. If he beats one of those guys, my mind's not blown, but I ain't picking him to win it.
Interesting sidebar. O'Toole is already qualified for the Olympic trials. If O'Toole does win here, Carr has to go to the last chance, where I also think Chenzo's going. And anybody else at this weight,
Messenbrink's qualified.
Messenbrink's qualified, yep. So, interesting Olympic trial implications with this weight.
Yep, because, Keegan's already qualified. You have to win it, right?
Yeah.
Or you have to be a finalist.
Win it.
Okay. 174. Carter Starocki, next topic. Mackay Lewis, Edmund Ruth, Kay Devos, Shane Griffith, who just beat Devos, Mako Whitlake Karchla, who might not be he might be done.
Karchla's done?
I don't think he has an ACL or MCL or something. I don't think he has a lot of ligaments in his knee.
That's not good. Confirmed, that's not good.
I think he's done. It's this season at least. And maybe forever.
This way for me is hard. Like, I'm a Carter guy. I'm a Carter guy, so I love seeing him win and have the success. But it is kind of when a weight is so seemingly, it's kind of like Spencer Lee at 25. It's like when you have a guy who's a 3-time national champ, who's the favorite, it's hard to be excited about the weight. What are you hoping for here? Is the squeeze whether or not somebody can knock off Carter? Is the squeeze can Whitlake or Griffith or Lewis or Ruth AA? Of course they can.
That's where it's at. That's where it's at. I mean, but it's a next topic. It's Carter Starocki, next topic.
Even the All-Americans.
Not even a lot of juice. There's not even a lot of juice in. Actually, there's not a lot of juice in Hool AA.
Right? That's what I'm saying. If you look at like the 9 down,
should, Edmund should, Devos maybe, Griffith should, Mako should, Whitlake should, because who's threatening them? I mean, are they going to be threatened by Ben Pasiuk, Nico Incontrera, Phil Canigliaro, Justin McCoy? I don't.
But even if somebody goes on a run, even if like an Adam Kemp goes on a run, it's going to be to like get the 7-8 in All-American. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it's. Yeah. This is just Carter next topic right now.
Yeah, it's next topic. We ain't gonna spend time on it. 84, Keck Eyes and Truax. Plot, who just beat number 5 Fishback. Lenny Pinto is the 4. Trey Munoz, the 6. Trey Munoz just beat number 2 Bernie Truax.
I had said, God forbid I said it. God forbid I said Trey beating Bernie was an upset.
Why did people get upset with that?
Oh yeah. That's not an upset. If you've watched him in the past, listen, of course I've watched him in the past. A 6th seed or a 6th ranked guy beat a 2 ranked guy. It's an upset. Relax.
It's an upset. Idiots. So Bernie's going to be ranked. I don't know. What's Bernie going to be ranked?
I don't think he falls too much, but I do think Trey goes up to like 3, 4, and then maybe Bernie 5, somewhere in there. You don't think so?
Munoz can't. Well, he can't jump Plot, and he can't jump Pinto. He might go 5. He might go 5. I don't know, because Pinto...
He lost to what? Feldkamp and Fishback.
Yes, and Lenny has... I don't know how the rankers, how deep they go back, but Pinto does have the only head-to-head over Munoz as well, but that was last season.
I don't think that matters that much. This weight's interesting. I mean, I lean Parker. I think he's looked great.
Lean? You lean?
Yeah, I lean.
Next topic to me.
Really? Wow.
Nobody's beating Parker. Nobody's beating Keckeisen. Ain't happening.
Who did he lose to last year? Was it just Brooks at NCAAs?
He lost to Hidley.
Hidley at Cliff Keen, yeah.
He split with Hidley.
I lean with heavy inclination.
Mm-hmm.
Parker.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Munoz 5-1 last year.
He beat Bernie at the All-Star Classic.
He pinned Hidley in the rematch in the duel. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, this is... I'm trying to think of... It's always fun because we say this and then somebody you wouldn't expect goes on a run. But...
Parker's too consistent. He works too hard. He's too far advanced. He's not getting beat by any of these guys.
He looked great. We talked about it after the All-Star Classic, where I said how much of that was Bernie fading at the end versus Parker's gas tank. and it was pretty unified against me that it was more Parker than Bernie, as far as that's Parker's. I don't watch Parker that often like I do. I pay a lot more attention to the Big Ten, so I don't watch Parker that much. And shout out you, by the way. Not that we're gonna toot Willie's horn all day, but
what I do?
You went old school, like the old man you are, with a handheld camera for UNI Wyoming.
Dude, do you know?
Why not just get a tripod? Why not set it down?
You know how much I looked forward to doing? I hated that. I hated it. So, I'm doing the duels. I'm set to call the duels for the day. There's 3 duels: UNI Wyoming, Wyoming Nebraska, Nebraska UNI, and I'm driving to the arena and I get a email. Hey, be ready. The first match is at 1:30. Can you be there by noon for sound check? And I said, well, yeah, I can be there at noon, but the first duel is not at 1:30. The first duel's at noon. And they said, oh, yeah, well, they're not Big Ten teams, so we're not streaming it. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, nobody's going to be able to watch these matches ever again. Nobody's going to see them. You can't stream them. There's going to be no archive of them. I'm like, nah, I ain't letting that happen. I ain't letting it happen. Even if they get 5 views, I don't care. Somebody needs to record these matches. So I got there, and I wasn't prepared. I had a handy cam to do like interviews and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there on the bench, handy cam, no tripod. I was like this for an hour and a half. There's some tilting going on, but you got to do it. Can't let that go. It's a major duel.
Yeah. So shout out Willie. Anyway, yeah, Parker's looking great. This weight doesn't have a whole lot that I'm excited for as far as can somebody knock off Bernie, but there is going to be still some good duels. The talent here is kind of evenly spread out, where you have Big 12, Big 10, Big 12, Big 10, ACC, Pac-12, Big 12, EIWA, Big 12, Big 10. Like the top 10 is pretty spread out. So it kind of, when you start talking conference duels, I mean, we're probably going to get, look.
So Bernie Pinto will happen.
Yep, that'll be a good one. We'll get Plot and Kaikesen in a couple weeks. That'll be a good one. 1 versus 3. That'll be a real good match.
Yep. And let's see. Sam Wolf has a lofty number 7 ranking. I think he beat Foka, maybe Foka Enfeld camp at Cliff Keen. But he should have some duels. Let's see if he has anything tough before Big 12s. He will have Kyan Short, Bennett Berge. Oh my God. Despite being in the Big 12, he is not going to hit anybody else. He's not going to have a rematch with Feldkamp or Munoz. Or
wow.
Feldkamp or Whiting or the top, or Plot or Keckeisen. Wow. Wolf is going to have a great seat up Big 12s.
Yeah, it's going to be a great tournament with Wolf, Plot, Keckeisen.
Feldkamp.
Yep.
All right, 197. Aaron Brooks. Stephen Buchanan looked really good. He's number 2. Rocky Elam, the 3. Trent Hidley's the 4. Why is Trent Hidley 4?
Jackson 15-0.
15-0. I guess the new weight. I don't know. But why is Brooks the 1 then?
Returning 3-time national champ.
I know, but Trent Hidley's placings are better than Stephen Buchanan's and Rocky Elam's.
I feel like those 3-time national champs. When was the last time Brooks took a loss? That's kind of got to give some weight there.
What? No, I'm saying I'm not arguing that Brooks should be one. I'm arguing that Hidley should be ahead of Buchanan and Elam.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Like, Hidley's placings are much better than Buchanan and Elam. Anyway, and he's 15-0. Jackson Smith is a 5. Tanner Sloan is 6. Cardenas 7. Paz 8. Beard 9.
This is a fun weight. Even when you keep going down. Even when you
Luke
keep
Stout,
going.
Silas Allred, Luke Serber. Luke Serber has really come on. Stephen Little, Louis Dupre back in the mix. Maxed out 15.
Beard lost to Hidley.
Beard lost to Hidley. Okay.
At Journeyman.
So, man, Beard is at the 9. And there's only Cardenas from the EIWA ahead of him at 7. Man, Beard needs guys to have losses. Beard needs to beat Cardenas and hope for a couple guys to lose for him to get, I don't know, into the 5-6 range.
Yeah, I mean, Cardenas has 2 losses, but it's to Tanner Sloan and Trent Hidley, who, 4 and 6. But yeah, this is a fun weight. This is
it's really fun. I poo-pooed on 197 for years.
Now,
it was terrible. And heavyweight, but they are two of the funnest weights right now.
Do you think we're going to see any additions to 197?
What are you getting at?
What are you
getting at?
Is there
Ferrari? Ferrari? No, he ain't wrestling this year.
I love your the video of Ferrari in the car, and you just screenshot it. You're like, so many questions or
so many questions. And the thing is, AJ himself retweeted it.
Yeah. AJ, love him or hate him, AJ understands publicity and leveraging it. And AJ is playing into growing his brand. And I was talking to somebody this morning that I said, listen, personally, if I'm AJ or if I'm in AJ's corner, I'm advising him to go right into MMA. You can play the villain, you can play the bad guy, you can play the good guy, you can let the fans.
You think he's better cut out for MMA or
I think
WWE?
MMA. I think WWE requires a level of mental training for reading scripts, acting, like that side of wrestling that you usually...
You have to be an actor. You
usually see people develop what I've seen through their 20s and then kind of start hitting WWE. It's why you see somebody like Jacob Kasper, who's one of the most athletic beasts around.
Jacob Kasper's a superstar. In my opinion, he's a star.
He is. But look at, I don't know how old he is, but like it took years of developing that. And I think that's why you're seeing Gable. You know, Gable's a bit younger than most of them going into WWE. Going into WWE so young is hard. And one of the reasons it's hard if you're AJ or even Gable is here Gable rose to stardom in wrestling and then was kind of knocked back down to reality where what you are in Olympic wrestling, collegiate wrestling compared to the WWE ladder is you can be the biggest guy in Olympic wrestling, and that translates to the bottom of the ladder with WWE because you're now in buckets with The Rock, John Cena. Like that's the ladder. So Ferrari being so young, if he wants to fight, I would say go to MMA because there's a lot of good guy, bad guy, and the MMA fans will eat that up. WWE, I feel like it takes a lot longer to develop. And being so young, if he was not going to wrestle college,
I don't think you're wrong. I think you're probably spot on with the development thing. I just don't think AJ's cut out for throwing hands.
It might be. I don't know. Like the past year, I've seen on his social media doing MMA, training MMA. So that leads me to believe he wants to, if nothing else, try it out. which is why I would say that. I don't
and
think
I'm not poo-pooing AJ. I'm not saying he can't fight. I'm saying like Jordan Burroughs not cut out for MMA. I mean, it's just not his gig. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I get it. That I think with the way AJ is, his personality is spot on for MMA. It's very hard to have that big of a personality in wrestling, especially with everything he's gone through. It's just going to be tough. Like he's gone through a lot these last couple of years, whether it's self-induced or whatever, is a completely different story. But for, I've seen stories saying he should redshirt or, go freestyle and then college wrestling for 2-3 years. I don't know in what world people think AJ Ferrari's sticking around for college wrestling for the next 3 years.
I hear mixed things. I hear that
maybe
AJ wants to wrestle. I hear AJ wants to wrestle for 2-3 years in college, and I'm like,
I heard that too. Yeah,
you're already like 3 years, 4 years into this, and now you're going to sit out another year. Just, I mean, if I was him, I'd get on with my life. Honestly, he already won. He won one as a true freshman. I mean, why do you want to be confined to? Why do you want to be confined to rules, regulations, codes, and stuff like that when you could go a different route and start making money and be a pro?
I think he can still make money because now it's the wild, wild west as far as he can do whatever he wants with his brand and then leverage the college athletic spotlight. But if you're going into anything else, MMA, WWE, whatever, the spotlight's even bigger. But, it is going to be interesting, the dynamic with his brothers. And, I've been seeing things that the father wants to try to keep them all together if possible, which can make things, complicated. So, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, keeping them all together, I get it. I get family. The one thing that the Ferraris kind of preach and it is like family. We're brothers. We stay together, and that's a big thing. And I love that. I mean, not to get sidetracked here, but I see the dissolution of family. Like, I'm a family guy, right? So I get that part, but at the same time, in the Ferrari situation, maybe it's just not realistic, right? Like, they don't. If Iowa doesn't want to let AJ in, then the kids should do what they want independently.
Yeah, no, I agree. Obviously, I understand if I'm a father in an ideal scenario, having my 3 sons wrestle at the same school. I get that in an ideal situation. I feel like we're past that being the possibility. So we'll see.
Yeah. So I don't think signs right now point to no AJ this year. Classes start at Iowa, the 16th. Classes start at other places. If he was to go to another school, they start very soon or have already started. So something that has to. We're going to find out in a week if AJ 2024 is a thing.
He didn't do. He did do a podcast, Clash of Combat, last night. I didn't watch it yet. I don't know if you did.
I didn't watch it yet either. I need to. From what I heard, it doesn't sound like there were any answers.
Yeah. Which would make sense. He's going to hold his cards close to his chest.
No, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense.
Well, what doesn't make sense?
It doesn't make sense that. It doesn't make sense that after Soldier Salute, it doesn't make sense that after Soldier Salute, there was a pool of reporters in front of Tom Brands and nobody asked him a question about AJ Ferrari. Nobody asked him a question about AJ Ferrari. It doesn't make sense since Southern Soldier Salute happened that nobody has asked Tom Brands anything. Nobody has asked AJ Ferrari anything. It doesn't make sense that AJ Ferrari went on a podcast and they did not flat out say, what are your intentions? That's just poor journalism.
Well, okay, two different things here. I didn't know I was going to get Willie Unleashed, so I'm glad we finally tapped in.
What are we doing? The whole world is wondering how Tom Brands feels about AJ, how AJ feels about Iowa, where AJ might wrestle. If Tom wants to go ask Tom. These guys had AJ on a podcast and failed to ask him the question.
Hold on. Your disdain for reporters not asking brands is a separate issue here. I agree with you. I understand why they didn't do it. I don't think it's right, but they're all scared of brands and being outed, so they don't do it. That's a huge miss.
And they're scared of being a real journalist.
I agree with you. I'm just talking about this Clash of Combat interview, and I didn't hear it yet, so I don't know. I know they talked about Soldier Salute. I didn't hear it yet. But what I'm saying is, I don't know if AJ in totality knows what he's doing. So how is he not going to hold that close to his chest until he finalizes that?
You're telling me right now that the University of Iowa didn't tell AJ if he's in or not? There's no way that's the case. There's no way.
If the Iowa AD has said AJ's not coming here, right. I don't know that AJ wants that out there because it lowers his value. If schools know he can't go to Iowa, that now lowers the bar for what they have to pay. If he takes Iowa off the table, look at his video on Instagram. He said, Iowa offered me a BMW M8. Who's going to give me a Ferrari? If he comes out and says the BMW is off the table, you're not getting the Ferrari. You're getting a Honda Civic now. So I don't think he's going to show his true cards until he's done negotiating.
Fair enough.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's
that might be fair. That is a very good point.
The brands thing, I agree with you 100%.
But as a journalist, you're not asking the question?
I didn't listen to the podcast yet.
The question wasn't even asked.
I was watching Michigan, Washington, okay? I didn't watch it yet. I was watching the Michigan Wolverines. 34-13.
I didn't watch it either, but apparently they didn't ask.
Okay.
I got to go watch it for myself. Maybe I'm spouting off about nothing, but from the chatter I heard on message boards and stuff, they didn't even ask.
Well, here's the other possibility. Did it get asked and get cut? Because there was I saw Minio say that it was coming out at 7, and then he shared a screenshot that said, unfortunately, we have to delay. So there is the potential they asked it and it got cut. I don't know. It's just a possibility.
Well, who knows? I mean, it might be amateur hour. All right. I mean, if you say, hey, AJ, what's the plans? Are you going to go to Iowa or are you going to go somewhere else? And if you're AJ, you say, to be determined. All right. So why do you have to cut that?
I don't know, Willie. You're very passionate about this.
I just because only in wrestling do we have these.
Can we phone a friend? Can we phone a friend and get Felters? Can we phone a friend and get Felters on the line?
He don't know. He's beefing. He's beefing with the Iowa program.
Oh boy. All right, 285. Greg Kirkfleet, the 1. Hendrickson 2, Younger Bastida. I did make a mistake there in my graphic. I did say Bastida upsets Schultz. In my head, I was thinking Schultz is still the 3. He is not the 3. That is not an upset. That is one place that they were correct. But
I don't know.
I still think just eyeball test Schultz
viewed as an upset.
Correct.
Why can it not be viewed as a listen, who cares about the rankings? You have a 0-time AA in his second year of college wrestling against a perennial All-American.
Yeah. No, and that's why I wasn't even really thinking about it. I had thought Schultz was higher, but yeah, Schultz. I don't know about Colton Schultz.
Kirkfleet 1, Hendrickson 2, Younger 3, Davison 4, Schultz 5, Elam 6, Slavakuski 7, K. Gadiali 8. I love seeing K. Gadiali that high. Dayton Pitzer 9, Nathan Taylor 10. It's a fun weight. I think right now you probably after Younger beat Davison and Schultz, I think you have a tier. I think Kirkfleet, Hendrickson, Bastida is one tier. Don't you think?
100%. And I think, too, we should see Wyatt Younger at Big 12s, and we should see Kirkfleet Davison likely at Big 10s.
It's kind of weird because, like, Kirkfleet is ginormous and athletic. Hendrickson is a decent size and athletic, and Younger is smaller and athletic. So you got these guys with sort of the same traits and same styles, not same styles, but they're all kind of offensive minded. Kirkfleet takes a lot of shots. Hendrickson's very active. Younger takes a lot of leg attacks. These aren't your grandpa's heavyweights that are pushing and pulling and looking for drags and stuff, right? And bear hugging. These are guys. These are active. Oh my God! I almost said active shooters. You know what I'm saying? They're entertaining heavyweights. They're active heavyweights. But they're all like different sizes. So I think that's a tier. Then you have Davison, Schultz, Elam, all guys who have AA'd before and then knocking on the door and of the next tier. I mean, Schultz made a final. So I think there's a lot of intrigue here. Including, okay, I think you have Greg Kirkfleet, who everybody's going to take to, at minimum, make the finals, right? Then you have who's going to make the finals opposite him, Hendrickson or Bastida. So there's one question. Who will win that? Who's going to make the finals then?
That's my two big questions is, we're probably not going to – I don't think we see Wyatt Bastida until potential Big 12 finals. So it's who can win there? And I can make the argument for either one. Bastida has come up and looked incredible. Wyatt Hendrickson, going back to last year, has been so dominant, only taking a loss to Kirkfleet. So the question is, can Wyatt or Younger, who wins that at Big 12s? And then do we see that again? And by the way, Zach Elam too. Can he take one of those two out? Because Zach Elam, very good. Also 14-0.
Yeah, so that is an interesting thing because if Hendrickson, so Kirkfleet's going to be the 1 seed at Big Tens and the 1 seed at National. I mean, he's not getting beat by Davison, I don't think. And everybody knows, Lucas, I love you. I don't see Kirkfleet even being threatened in the Big Ten. Okay. So then you have Hendrickson and Bastida. They don't wrestle till Big 12s. If Elam doesn't upset one of them and it's Hendrickson, Bastida in the finals, they are going to be the 2-3.
Correct.
Right?
So we could likely see that 2-3 again as an NCAA semifinal potentially.
I mean, in a way, I mean, all signs point to right now 285 being the easiest NCAA seed projections of any weight in the country. Kirkfleet's going to be the one. Tell me a scenario in which Kirkfleet isn't a one. Tell me a scenario in which Hendrickson, Bastida isn't the 2-3 unless Elam causes an upset. I mean, it's a pretty straightforward weight.
Yeah. No, I agree. And so then it's going to be, if we agree that Wyatt Younger a likely 2-3, can that winner beat Greg? And I'm picking Greg, but that's kind of the storyline. But yeah.
You realize I just can't get over this. Penn State, Kirkfleet's the only heavyweight on the roster.
Is he really?
I mean, that's just like a side note. It's like blows my mind. He's literally the only heavyweight on the roster.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And
yet he's got one of the best rooms in the country for upper weight training partners.
Yes, he does. But the only heavyweight they have coming in is Marisola, who's very light at the moment. So all the eggs are in the Marisola basket right now.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's 285. Team, what do you think for team-wise? It's been an interesting first half of the year. And it's funny how different, Intermat has both the dual rankings and the tournament rankings. And, obviously Penn State sits on top of both. But then it's crazy how different it is. Because then for duals, you have Iowa, Missouri, Nebraska, 2, 3, 4. And you have NC State, Nebraska, Michigan, the 2, 3, 4 for tournament.
Yeah, I said the beginning of the year, I think when I did my first crystal ball, the race for the podium is going to be as cool as ever. It's going to be really, Penn State next topic, but then there's going to be a really neat team race for the next 3 spots. And it really goes like 8-10 schools deep from NC State down to Arizona State or Ohio State. There's a lot of teams that could take third if they, things break right for them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I wish we were getting Penn State, NC State dual meet this year. That would be a fun one.
It would. So they're 1-2 in the tournament rankings, 1-7 in the dual rankings. We do get Penn State, Iowa. We do not get Penn State, Missouri. We get Penn State, Nebraska. That's 1-4. We get Cornell, Missouri, the 3-8. So yeah, there's some big duels coming up. I cannot wait. What's the worst is that I'm doing Wyoming Seminary, number 1 in the nation, against number 2 Blair Academy live on Matt Scout's Friday night. But at the same time as Penn State, Nebraska, Iowa. Brutal.
Well, that's this weekend, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
We're already in mid-January. This is crazy.
I'll tell you what, that's Nebraska, Iowa is in need of a full breakdown. Whiteboard war, whatever you want. That's going to be a dandy.
What does WrestleStat currently have the duel at? WrestleStat has Nebraska over Iowa, 18-16.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'll run through it real quick. They say Caleb Smith over Drake Ayala at 25. Teskey over Van.
Toss up. I don't like the way. Let's do it. Let's break it down. Make our picks down.
I go Drake there.
If you asked me before last weekend, I would have said 50-50. I think Caleb got to clean some stuff up. I think he has to be a little bit more offensive. I will go Drake at this time.
Drake beat him last year head-to-head, 5-2. So, yep. Then they have Teskey over Van D.
That
just happened.
That was a back-and-forth match at Soldier Salute. I think Van D can win. It was very evident. It was very obvious that Van D has the ability to win that match.
Yeah, 5-4 match 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Van D got the first takedown. Teskey got his own and won the match. So that's a sort of a coin flip match. I'm going to go Iowa again. And like, can Van D do it? Yes. Can Caleb Smith do it? Yes. But until I see it, give me Teskey.
Yep. And then they got Real Woods over Brock Hardy, which I think is the obvious pick. That
was a real close match at Big Tens last year, but you obviously go Real. So I got 9-0.
They got Ridge Lovett winning over Caleb at 49.
Yeah, give me 4 there. 9-4.
Ooh, spicy. Funny enough, WrestleStat has the decision 10-3, 1 point away from bonus. And then
I just think with 3-point takedowns now and Ridge's ability to turn,
this next match gets really fun. WrestleStat has Peyton Robb over Jared Franek, 6'5", is their prediction.
He beat him last year. Obviously, Peyton's not optimized right now.
They're 1-1.
He just lost to Downey. Yeah, but that one was Franek. Didn't Peyton Robb have a flesh-eating disease when Franek won that match?
I don't know what point the flesh-eating disease came to life, but it was at NCAA's overtime match 3-1, yeah.
Yeah, so Peyton beat him when he didn't have a flesh-eating disease. So give me Peyton. So give me 9-7 at the break.
Yep. And then we got Caliendo over Taylor as the WrestleStat prediction.
Okay. 12-7. I agree with that, although I do think Antrell has the ability.
Yep. Patrick Kennedy over Bubba Wilson at 174. They got a major for Kennedy.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
They got a major here.
That's not going to happen. But I think Bubba Wilson can win the match. But again, give me more proven guy. I say more proven, but Bubba Wilson had a really good NCAAs last year.
Bubba Wilson, he's so inconsistent. He's so good, but he's so inconsistent.
Entirely inconsistent. I mean, he was a 57-pounder, and then he couldn't beat P-Rob. And then he was a 65-pounder, and now he can't beat Antrell. And now he's a 74-pounder. And so he's way out of his weight class. But he's a gamer. He's a dog. He works hard as hell.
Like last year.
I just think he'll fight. I just think he'll fight Kennedy. He won't quit. He won't get dogged. And so I think it's a regular decision. We're at 15. We're at 15-7.
84 Lenny Pinto over Aiden Riggins by Techfall.
Lenny Pinto. I think this is a 6 or 4 match.
Yeah.
Right? Like if Lenny could pin him. Now, just give me 3. Just give me 3. Lenny, 15-10.
Okay, now we got the prediction: Silas Allred over Zach Glazier or AJ Ferrari. I'm just kidding.
Silas against Glazier. I'll take Silas 15-13.
Yeah, they got a major for Allred. And then 85 is I don't know. I don't agree with this. They got Hill over Nash. Give me the polar bear.
Hill will win.
You think so?
Hill will win. 16-15 Huskers.
Wow.
It's going to be
So you're not far off. I mean, they have 18-16 Nebraska over Iowa.
Yeah, we have a lot of different things though. But does Gabe Arnold wrestle?
Does the polar bear get a W? What if this
Nash Hutmacher will beat Brad Hill.
Bradley Hill. You said the other way.
Nash Hutmacher will beat.
Yeah, no, I thought you said Hill gets the W. Yeah, no, I think Nash wins here.
No. Nash Hutmacher will beat Bradley Hill. The question is, will he beat Ben Keeter?
Oh. Ooh, does Keeter wrestle?
Does Keeter
weigh in this weekend?
I think if Gabe wrestles 84, I think the best lineup for Iowa is Gabe wrestling 84 and Keeter wrestling heavyweight.
Yeah. Imagine if it comes down.
I think they need it, because if they. I gave Iowa all the coin flips. I mean, I truly feel like Drake Ayala is the pick. I truly feel like Teskey is the pick. But
yeah,
they got to have both of them. And if they don't, they're going to need Gabe, and they're going to need to win at heavyweight. They're going to need their best option. Now, I'm not in the room. I don't know. Maybe Brad Hill beats Ben Keeter. I don't know. Ben just took his cleats off. But I would imagine Ben's the better chance to beat Hutmacher.
Does this duel come down to Nash in Nebraska? How exciting would that be?
It would be really cool. It would be really cool packed house. You know what? I was there for the UNI duel, Wyoming duel, and dude, half the football team was there. Matt Rule was signing autographs. Matt Rule's on the floor. It was really cool.
Yeah.
And that was, a Saturday tri-meet with Wyoming. This is going to be prime time on TV against the Iowa Hawkeyes. I bet you a lot of the football community goes.
Yeah, they went last week, didn't they? A lot of football players.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's a mid-season preview. Oh, what is this? Sorry. That's a mid-season preview. That's a Nebraska-Iowa look. We got the Zagreb Open ranking series tomorrow. That's going to be exciting.
Hey, something came through. I got an email from UWW that said, watch Zagreb Open on UWW Plus.
UWW Plus, I believe, is only for non-U.S. I believe Flow still has the exclusive for the U.S.
Gotcha.
They probably should have targeted that email a little bit better to non-U.S. But yeah, UWW is non-U.S. residents. So I guess you could VPN into Germany and buy UWW Plus. Yeah. That is a possibility. All right, well, let's start. Let's increase the frequency of the shows now that we're going to start having more regularity with who's competing and when. We're in the thick of it now.
Yeah. Yep. Now it's go time, buddy. Now we do it regularly.
A little less Fortnite, a little more podcasting.
I'm going right to Fortnite right now.
I know you are. and crypto trading. Don't forget that too.
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
That's a show.
All right, my man.
See ya.
And the beat goes on.